so many ways. The Pacific pulls us in to roam its hidden alleyways, shift our perspectives, breathe history, taste local flavors, and savor every moment. Let yourself be moved.
Good morning, Victoria. We are working through some scoreboard issues, but the last time I see on the scoreboard says 5 minutes, so I'm going to start talking to you now. My name is Regrettal, and I'm joined on the announcer dais today by your announcers, Fanny and Goose. The Eves of Destruction acknowledge and thank the Kosapsum Esquimalt Nation and the Songhees Nation, along with the Tsuk and Pachidat, for allowing us to play the sport we love and host our events on their traditional territory. We, as guests, recognize this territory as unceded and honor the ongoing relationship with the land and stewardship of the Lekwungen-speaking people. We are honored to live on this land and are working toward reconciliation, decolonization, and building relationships in our communities. A few local organizations you can support are Victoria Native Friendship Center, Raven Trust for Environmental Justice, and ComChem, Coastal Connections, Indigenous Harm Reduction, and Health Services. I'm going to turn it over to my fellow announcers here to read you some rosters.
Good morning.
Good morning. We will introduce to you for the second time this weekend from Hollister, California, Faultline Devilz. Skating as 110, let's be honest. 1313, Naughty Havoc. 141, Goldilocks. 143, Pinball. Your captain, 15, Ice Rocker. 18, Shabam. 21, Ninja. 214, Cool Whip. 317, Lucky Harms. 36, Slamala Anderson. 4140, Sasha DeGrader. 505, Corimer. I should have asked how to pronounce that one. 666, Piercer. Number 8, Hydra. 81, Maddie Massacre.
I just wasn't sure if you remember.
916, Slick Mick.
Little nuance.
And your bench staff for Faultline, Tara Cole and Brass Schnuckles.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And for high altitude roller derby, we have 0, the knockout. 1 destruction. 1414, Kid Radical. 142, Meals on Wheels. 24, Glitter Bomb. 314, Pyre Scared. 32, Mini Fridge. 4, Papa Wheelie. 420, Novocaine. 45, Katie Smudge. 47, Crawdaddy. 666, Dolly Don't Paradon. 750, Gin and Tonic. 76, Little Evil. 802, Mow You Down. And for bench staff, we have Glamazon Pain Forest, Sparkles, and Hooligan. Are you guys ready to play some roller derby?
What? Are you ready to play some roller derby? Yeah! And to help us keep this game rolling smoothly, we've got officials from all over Canada and the United States. As skating officials for this game, your head ref is No. IPR, Otter Mayhem. 2 jam refs, Bobby Flair and PH Demon. Your OPRs are Rolando Furioso, Carmen Dragon, and Ruby Refhauser, which I love. And alternate today is Mass.
And for our NSOs this morning, we have Pushy Gloria, Bazooka Langley, Left on Red, V-Rex, Babe, Kelowna Mella, Grim Steeper, Skatebush, and Crew Lucy. Thank you so much for being so wonderful.
Our wonderful non-skating officials are working on some scoreboard issues, so while they do that, I'm going to give you some music, and skaters can feel free to use the track to keep warm.
Good morning. Looks like we're ready to rumble. On the line, we have Sasha DeGrader for Faultline Roller Derby and Pie Are Scared for high altitude. Looks like high altitude has the lead and 4 points on the board. High altitude pushing their way through the pack, making their way through with another 4 points. Sasha DeGrader is still in the pack with the hat off. And that's 8 points for high altitude. Oh, I'm so sorry. 12 points.
The Eves of Destruction wish to thank all of the outstanding sponsors that fund the gameplay you enjoy. As we tell you more about them today, consider if you too would like to help us keep rolling through 2026. Contact us at eodsponsorship@gmail.com. Back on the track now, we have Slick Mick for Faultline Derby Devilz, Glitter Bomb for Dark Sky Starlets. I'm familiar with both these jammers, agile, fast, difficult to stop, but it is Glitter Bomb out front of the pack with lead jammer to start us off on a scoring pass. Slick Mick is out as well, passing that final blocker as Glitter Bomb is in scoring position fighting against Pivot from Faultline. Slick Mick sneaks in to steal some points. We'll see how that washes out.
Got a lot of quick jams happening here.
Turns out to be a 3-2 jam in favor of Faultline. Dark Sky Starlets at 14. Faultline now on the board with 3 points.
If you have the chance today, all skaters, you should check out Parkway Physio. Help reduce pain and improve mobility. Get back to what you love. On the line, we have Maddie Masker for Faultline and Crew Daddy for high altitude. We got Crew Daddy coming out right behind Maddie Masker. Maddie Masker coming on the outside, calling it off. Keeping it cool.
Faultline is your higher seeded team entering this game, and they are coming into today with a win from yesterday. This is Hard's first game of the event, and this is the first ever matchup between these two teams. 5 seconds is called. Sasha DeGrader back on the line for Faultline and Kid Radical for the Dark Sky Starlets.
Sasha DeGrader out with lead.
Sasha DeGrader fighting against a really tight wall of black skaters as Kid Radical is, I've got this backwards. Sasha DeGrader is now out and scoring, fighting against Hard's difficult line, but through with 4 points. Helmet cover off, but out of the pack is Kid Radical, putting that back on the head in case they can come around and pick up some points before Sasha calls it off. Sasha with a little apex hop is knocked to the inside bound, taps the hips, makes the call off, and collects 2 points before the end of the jam.
Check out The Zone at 91.3, proud sponsor of the Eves. The Zone is a radio station made for you by real people here in Victoria. I love the radio. And on the line, we have Slick Mick and Pie Are Squared. We got Pie Are Scared out with lead. Slick Mick coming out with a penalty, a forearm penalty. This is a power jam for Hard. Coming out with 4 points on the board. Looking for some offense on the out. Getting hit out on the outside line. Jammer getting through.
If it was still 2014, I think Pyar Scared would have that dot in the middle to make that 3.14 on their jersey.
Yeah. Pyro Scared getting another 4 points. Other jammer is, Slick Mick is working their way through the pack. Getting their initial pass. Pyro Scared calling it off promptly. That brings us to 10 to 26. Oh, 10 to 29. The 15-point jam.
Get amongst the games this Saturday. That's today at 2 p.m. at the Roll a Skater Bocce game. Grab your ticket to partake at the Hardcore's craft table or stick around to watch the fun for free.
Roll a Skater Bocce game. What the heck? Can't wait to see it.
If it's anything like Derby, I'm in. The whistle is blown. Glitter Bomb is skating for Dark Sky at this time. Maddie Massacre on the line. Lots of action in the pack. Of both jammers' feet are moving rapidly, but they're both caught up at the back of the pack. Glitter Bomb is skating the outside line, meets up with some defense, but does find space. And earns lead jammer status. 1-1-0 from Faultline in the penalty box as Hart is approaching on a scoring pass. Glitter Bomb with some pretty simple moves to get through, picking up a couple of points on the track as well as those remaining in the box. Finishing the jam 4-0 for Dark Sky Starlets.
In a world filled with mass-produced stuff, connect with what you consume with Driftwood Brewery. Visit the bar and patio nearby on Viewfield Road or on site here tonight. Grab a beer with me. Buy me a beer. Do whatever you want, but maybe buy me a beer. Ha, ha.
This official review called by Dark Sky Starlets. There is a mic in the center, so we may hear from the referees as to what is being requested, as well as the result. We will find out shortly. Each team is allowed one official review per half. That is if their official review is refused. But if they win their official review, they will maintain or retain that official review for the half and have an opportunity to come back in and chat with the refs. If they lose it, they lose it. It's gone, and they don't get another one until the next half. So we'll see what comes of this for Dark Sky.
Yeah.
Just have a correction from an earlier announcement. That's a contact correction, so I'll give that now. So if you wish to become an Eves of Destruction sponsor, our new email address is sponsorship@evesofdestruction.com. Sponsorship@evesofdestruction.com. Thank you so much to all our sponsors. Looks like we've got a result from our official review being communicated now.
Faultline was looking for a back block in the previous jam, jammer on jammer contact. There's not enough information to issue that call, so the no call stands, and they do not retain their official review.
Thank you, officials. Looks like we are now ready to get back on track and play some roller derby. On the line for Faultline, we have Sasha DeGrader, and for hard, we have Crawdaddy. Got Crawdaddy coming out, getting lead. Sasha DeGrader not far behind. Calling it off.
Salt Chuck Pie Company is a small, locally owned business that values community and customer relationships. Visit them just across the Bay Street Bridge.
I love a salt chuck pie. Nothing feeds my soul like watching roller derby and a little pie in my hand.
Slick Mick on the line for Faultline. Little Evil for Dark Sky Starlets. Slick Mick throwing shoulders to try to get past the defense. Little Evil also at the front of the pack working that defense, but there's a lot of recycling. It is Little Evil out with lead jammer for the Dark Sky Starlets. Penalty being whistled in the pack as Slick Mick falls to the outside line and Hard's defense sets up around them again, but that's a couple of spins to get Slick Mick out of the pack on their initial. Little Evil now on a scoring pass, looking for offense from their team. Slick Mick back in the pack, quickly through for 4 points. Little Evil with lead jammer status is now out with the first 4 points of that jammer turn. On hold to call up the jam, watching the bench for some instructions as Slick Mick has entered the pack to attempt more points. Little Evil also in scoring position is chucked to the outside by number 2-1 in black. That's Ninja. Ninja a little bit out of play, or so Little Evil thought, but that was considered a track cut, and Little Evil is now heading for our first power jam of the game to the penalty box. So that's Slick Mick taking advantage of that opportunity.
Yeah, it's been a pretty clean game in regards to penalties.
Huge offense from number 3-6, the pivot from Faultline. Slick Mick is out of the pack on a third scoring pass with 12 total points for Faultline this jam. So the power jam scenario is really working out in favor of Faultline at this time. Pivot for Dark Sky, trying to help out the defense and recycling up to the pack. Slick Mick is just really quick, has a lot of fancy footwork that helps every pass. Little Evil did exit the box right at the end of the jam, so we will start with 2 jammers on the track. A couple of blockers for Faultline in the box, though, so Dark Sky with a bit of an advantage going into jam 9.
Looks like we have Pie Are Scared on the line, much like Salt Chuck Pies. They should check it out.
I think I could go for about 3.14 pies right now.
Hey! Our amazing crew of dedicated officials is one of the Eves of Destruction's biggest assets. From non-skating officials to on-skating officials, they make it possible for all of us to enjoy this sport we love so much. Speak to any of our official EOD members to find out how you too could be a part of this awesome crew. Thank you so much, officials. We love you.
In case you missed the memo, today is Twinning Day. So if you have a friend and a suitcase full of fun things to wear, go and get as matchy-matchy as you possibly can for the rest of this day, and we will take your photo and take some video, and you will see yourself featured on the Eves of Destruction Instagram account. There is a second flamingo outfit out there, but I did notice Lizard Beth too has a nice flamingo shirt on. So Trish Trash and I are gonna have to get photos with Lizard Beth later in the day because we are on theme.
I just wore my Eve shirt because I figured there'd be another Eve also wearing an Eve shirt.
It's like the most ultimate multiples. It's like you're not twins, you're not triplets. What do you even get? Like there's like septuplets, octuplets.
Yeah, I guess like how many is 19?
19 uplets.
Yeah, 19 uplets.
Eve's uplets.
Yeah. We got Slick Mick on the line for Faultline and Pie Are Scared for Hard. We got Pie Are Scared coming through with the lead.
Definitely missed that jammer penalty at the end of that last jam. So definite power jam in favor of Dark Sky Starlets at the moment, but recycled to the back.
Little bean dip on the outside line there, coming out with 4 points. There's shout out to St. John Ambulance for being so wonderful and always being there for our games.
As we get set for our next jam, Glitter Bomb is on the line for Hard and Sasha Degrader for Faultline. Score standing at 26 Faultline and 45 for the Dark Sky Starlets. This is a reversal of our expected score at this point, but as we know in Derby, scores can change really quickly. We have a lead jammer, 4140, Sasha Degrader with Glitter Bomb hot on their tail. This may or may not end as a 0-0 jam. Sasha takes a hit on the inside line as Glitter Bomb enters to score, calls the jam off with 1 point from the jam and 1 point for the opposing jammer as well. So 1-1 overall.
I heard that it's a winter wonderland right now in Flagstaff. So it must be real nice to come here to this beautiful warm weather of Victoria.
I did hear that Hard spent some time touristing yesterday, as this is their first game of the event.
Yeah, I hope they had the opportunity to check out some amazing sights in Victoria. Looks like we have Crawdaddy out with lead against Maddie Massacre for Faultline. Maddie Massacre hot on their tail. Crawdaddy coming in hot and calling it off. I wonder if any of our skaters are currently staying at Hotel Z. Check out Hotel Z against The Ordinary, combining a retro aesthetic with modern comfort. Hotel Z is an antidote antidote to boring travel.
And Goose is the antidote to boring announcing.
Yeah.
This whistle starts Jam 12, Kid Radical on the line, and Slick Mick out for lead jammer very quickly for Faultline. Kid Radical has an opportunity, takes it, and finishes that initial pass. Slick Mick is scoring and really confident on the inside line, holds that line clean, calls the jam off, and does put all 4 points up. So Faultline raises their score to 32 points, and Dark Sky Starlets are held to 48.
Yeah, that was some sweet line work on the inside line there from Slick Mick.
I wonder if Slick Mick picked their name before they found out they were really slick, or if that was because they knew they were such a great skater.
On the line, we have Sasha DeGrader and Pi Are Scared. Looks like we have Sasha DeGrader coming out with the lead. Pi Are Scared pushing through the pack. Penalty for 1-8. Sasha DeGrader calling it off. Closing the gap of this score right now with 36 to 48.
Can we use the few voices that we have in the crowd right now to give another big shout out to our officials who volunteer so much of their time and energy to make this sport happen? Let's raise it up. Let's put our hands up. Let's put a big loud cheer. Let's drop our arm just like Zooks is about to do for 5 seconds. Woo!
On the line, we got Maddie Massacre and Glitter Bomb. Glitter Bomb shooting out there with the lead. Maddie Massacre pushing through the pack. And Maddie Massacre coming out. Call off by Glitter Bomb.
And here's a big EOD thank you to our tireless photographers. We have Green Bean and Paige DeWolf of Creative Miscellany. We all look forward to revisiting all of these big hits through your work, so thank you so much.
And also a huge shout out to Bugsy for being so good at all of the social media stuff. Like, it's been great seeing it out there.
Crawdaddy lead jammer for Hard. Half a lap around the track already as Slick Mick heads to the penalty box. Crawdaddy communicating with their blockers whether or not to throw some offense as she approaches. A little bit of spin and a check-in with the referees, and Crawdaddy is out of the pack with 4 points. Another opportunity on the power jam as Slick Mick seated in the box. Crawdaddy is back in the pack fighting for points. Gets some offensive help from one of their blockers, number 0. That's the knockout.
I love it when I'm watching roller derby and I can feel myself, my body retort in the hits and stuff like that. It feels like when you're watching it and you can feel it, you know?
Yeah, I absolutely understand that. I don't understand Slick Mick. I cannot skate like that, but that is amazing.
Initial pass, not lead jammer, but in scoring position. Crawdaddy still fighting for points at the pack. Got some penalties being whistled as the jam comes to an end. 4 points more on the board for white, totaling 12 for that jam, and giving us a beautiful little palindrome score on the scoreboard.
Yeah, I love watching roller derby and then feeling inspired by the roller derby that I'm watching. And I feel that right now.
Got a pretty small pack out there, a couple in the box for black and one for white.
Out of the pack, we have Sasha the Greater with lead and Little Evil going to the box. Back walk, that's what it was. And Sasha calling it off, starting off with a power jam for Faultline.
A 23-point difference between the two teams. 11 minutes remaining in the first half. This is, again, a reverse of what we might anticipate based on the stats predictor on WFTDA's website, which did indicate Faultline as the favorite for this game. But that is Maddie Massacre for Faultline out of the pack with lead jammer status, taking advantage of the power jam opportunity. Little Evil remaining in the box. And on a scoring pass, Maddie Massacre is working hard against a difficult tripod, plus a pivot. We're really working hard to kill the power jam. Looks like a fantastic outside line by Maddie Massacre, and I am corrected. Maddie Massacre did get a penalty and is headed to the box. We are flipping the power jam opportunity. Little Evil now in position to put some points on the board for their team after the initial pass is completed. And that job is done. Little Evil now on their first scoring trip. Not lead jammer, so the jam will go for the rest of the 2 minutes. About halfway through as Little Evil hits the pack, but is sent out to the outside by Ice, number 1-5, the captain for Faultline. Little Evil is back in the pack, holding on to the helmet cover, so possibly looking for an opportunity to change out jammers.
I don't think they made their initial. I think they saw she was lead and had a power jam. In the back in the previous. No, they got it. She's got to finish. She's got to finish this pass collection. No, she already completed the pass. The initials. Yeah. I think she picked up some points. She just has to complete this and get this point.
Oh, there she goes, has it back.
Little Evil finishing that pass that was started before the power jam began. So a couple of points posted, looks like all four. And another opportunity with just a tiny bit of time left in the jam. Jam is called off. But Little Evil did grab 2 more points at the end of that jam, totaling. We're having a scoreboard adjustment, but I do think that was 6 points total for Little Evil. Faultline awarded 4 points at the end of the jam. Not too sure on the score, but we'll see what it
I don't know
rounds up
about the
as.
score, but I do know about Empire Donuts.
Tell me about Empire Donuts, please.
Let me tell you, they're made with a whole lot of love. All donuts are made by hand, from scratch, with quality ingredients.
I need to go now. I think I need a donut.
Yeah.
So have fun announcing this game. You want
Why
anything?
have breakfast
Want
when
some?
you can have a donut?
I won't leave you hanging. I love donuts almost as much as I love a good roller derby crowd.
Yeah, I really like the Earl Grey donut that they have. Oh, it's so good. It's like, and I also love it's like a purple gray color. So tasty, so sweet.
Actually, I think Goose chatted and probably talked at least one of you into buying them a beer later, so.
A beer and a donut?
I don't drink a lot, but I'll take a donut. All right, we have Slick Mick on the jam line and Pi R squared. Scared, sorry.
I know, I always say that, Pi R squared. And we got Slick Mick out with the lead. Pi R squared not far behind. Looks like it might be a quick jam. Slick Mick
Pi
coming
R being
through.
whistled off the track,
Pi R
3-1-4
squared.
to the box.
Ooh.
It's pretty difficult to hear sometimes, so I think Pi R wasn't aware of that penalty until almost a full lap was completed. Got to get to that box as quickly as you can so the penalty is over and you can get back into gameplay.
Looks like Faultline has a go. Making it real easy for Slick Mick to slip through that pack. Faultline with 12 points on the board and counting. Really taking advantage of having people in the box. Really closing the gap on this score differential. We have a fast pack happening right now. I'm calling it off. That was an 18-point jam.
Closing that gap and score nicely. Faultline looking to creep closer and possibly establish a score lead before the end of the half. I do want to get back to that conversation about delicious snacks, though. Donuts, etc. Hazel's Ice Cream is also a sponsor of the Eves of Destruction. I have enjoyed a Hazel's Ice Cream bar or two. A family dream of ice cream. You can visit their bike cart here at our venue for local handmade ice cream bars.
Okay.
Yum-y.
But imagine this. What if Hazel's and Empire were to combine and make an ice cream donut sandwich?
I
would die.
I have nothing to say to that.
I would die.
Goose is a genius.
Yeah, and then they could call it the Eve's sandwich.
The goose sandwich?
Oh, the goose sandwich?
The goose sandwich. The goose.
I don't think we want to
It's
put
the
goose
goose.
in ice cream. Wow, they really closed the gap on that one. Their endurance is insane.
So that was hard taking a team time out. Probably just having a chat about what they can do to maintain this lead before the half. 3 team timeouts per team, per game. Use them up and they're gone. So you usually see one of those used up in the first half and the other saved for the second. But they are available if the team needs some rest, needs some chat, or wants to use it for other strategic purposes. Glitter Bomb and Sasha Degrader have been jammers, co-jammers in the same jam multiple times this game. Probably for good reason. They're a great matchup. As you can see, they're both out of the pack nearly at the same time. Glitter Bomb does have lead. Sasha takes a bit of a step to the outside on that pass, giving Glitter Bomb the opportunity to hit the pack first, picking up 3 full points before calling it off. So that is hard with an additional 3 points and opening that score back up to a 10-point lead.
I love a game like this where it's just that push and pull of the score gap just keeps closing and it makes for a really entertaining game.
Yeah, it also means that all of the learning and all of the growth is happening on the track. You play up against a team that's basically your equal, and you're gonna get something amazing out of it for next time.
Yeah, and we have Maddie Masker out with the lead and Crawdaddy not far behind. Maddie Masker jumping the apex, not quite, and calling it off. Incredible.
We've got 6 minutes remaining in this half. 6 minutes to get lead jammers, 6 minutes to score as many points as possible.
And there's a QR code around the building that you can vote on your tournament MVP, and that tournament MVP will earn a gift from our sponsor at Roller Girl. So go and vote.
Pyar Scared is really vying for that tournament MVP in this moment. That was a fantastic lead jammer status achieved as Slick Mick is facing the penalty box again. So Pyar Scared with a nice pass on the inside line, turning those hips around the final blocker to put up 4 more points on the board for high altitude. Jam whistle dead with a bit of confusion.
On the line for Faultline, we have Pi R squared for the power jam. Getting out with the lead. Oh, getting hit out by ice. Driving up the middle.
Faultline is doing some excellent recycling and controlled blocking to keep Pyar Scared in the pack. They do finally get to the out of play range and are able to put up 4 points on the board, but we do have Slick Mick back on the track looking for an initial pass. Slick Mick is trying to pull all the moves to get past those hard blockers, very hard blockers, and that is a big hit by 750 at the front of the pack, but as they step out of bounds, Slick Mick can enter in front of them to continue on their way.
On the line, we have Kid Radical and Sasha the Greater. Sasha pushing hard at the front against a difficult tripod there. Kid Radical at the back, still no lead.
Jam ref Bobby Flair indicating that no lead established by Sasha.
So lead is open and given to Kid Radical as Sasha is in scoring position and starts to pass skaters. Sasha says, I've got 2 points. Flair disagrees and says, no, you got 1 point, so we'll add that to the score. Faultline with 63 now and Hard at 82. Again, that gap is opened back up a little bit. We've got a range about, we've got 19 points between the two teams. 2.5 minutes left in the period.
On the line, we have Glitter Bomb, and my eyes aren't that great. I cannot see. Maddie Massacre. Yes. Glitter Bomb out. I can always identify Glitter Bomb because of their pink hair. And Maddie Massacre out, not far behind.
Am I the only one who has noticed that the shirt whip seems to be coming back to roller derby? Like I'm seeing a lot of grabbing shirts and pulling, jammers pulling themselves through the pack off their teammates. There was a waitress whip that was executed beautifully in a game yesterday.
Yeah, I love it when players use other players to get through the pack. I think it's a great representation of teamwork and trust.
Absolutely.
It's like the derby version of a trust fall.
Yeah, legit. And it can be also so sneaky, you know?
If you have a really little jammer, it's fun to just chuck them up the inside line. Just pick them up pretty much.
Maddie Massacre taking this power jam. Glitter Bomb sneaking in. It's funny because like when I'm on the track, I can't hear the announcers. Like, it's almost like the announcers don't exist, but it's like, if I were to listen to the announcers, I might get some intel, like some extra little tidbits of information that could help me, you know?
Yeah, it's interesting calling a game. There's differences between doing it from home, like for spectators at home versus when you're live, because you don't want to give too much away to the players, but
You got to be pretty aware to be listening to the announcers calling what the other team is doing as you're trying to get through the pack.
we got 8-8 on the scoreboard for this jam so far for both teams. It's going to run the full 2 minutes because there's no lead jammer on the track right now. Maddie is facing off against a force of white blockers at the back of the pack. Does find a little space on the inside line, but is caught up on the outside line, caught up on the outside line and seated on the floor at the end of that jam. And it does look like that jam came out as a wash of 12 points each. A lot of hard work for 12 points and no actual material gain in score.
And that's halftime.
Another score check-in at the halftime. Faultline trailing just by a bit, 75 to Dark Sky Starlets, 94 points. We'll see what the second period will do for each of these teams. Faultline is currently ranked 47 entering the tournament, and Hard is ranked 43. So Hard, the Dark Sky Starlets, with the lower rank, is the team in the lead right now. Little different than what's predicted, but anything can happen in Derby. Roster changes happen often, and teams just change and grow. But yeah, this is a really close, beautiful game of roller derby, and we're really excited to chat with you about the next half soon. At 75 points, and Hard, H-A-R-D, Dark Sky Starlets at 94 points as we resume the game.
We're going into this second half with some pretty clear indicators here. In the first half, Faultline had lead 8 times and Hard had lead 15 times. We see that reflected in this score.
Starting off the second half, jammers for teams are Slick Mick and Pie Are Scared. Both of these jammers have been showing off some really amazing skills in terms of footwork, edge work, and so forth. It is Slick Mick out of the pack with lead jammer status. Slick Mick with a couple of penalties earlier in the game, keeping them from being super effective, but now that they're back on the track in this second half and refreshed, they are working their magic on the lines. Definitely picking up some points on the outside before hitting the floor and calling it off. It is a full 4-point scoring pass. So after that first jam, Faultline is already on the board with 4 points and at 79.
Wow.
Welcome back, Goose.
Thanks.
You can drop into Influence Board Shop for Victoria's best selection of skateboards and gear. Thank you, Influence, for your sponsorship. Give us a wave if you want to let us know where you are today. Thank you.
And Influence has an incredible indoor ramp. They just updated their whole setup in there, and it is so much fun. So if you like park skating, check out their indoor area.
Glitterbomb has lead jammer status for Dark Sky Starlets and is picking away at points in the pack now. Ninja on the outside line trying to hold off Glitterbomb, but Glitterbomb is working their way around each skater with ease, putting up 4 points on the board with no initial pass so far for Sasha DeGrader. No initial pass means lots of scoring opportunity, but Sasha is almost free, probably going to get an out of play call at the front, and Sasha is now eligible to score on the next pass. Glitterbomb is not having that though, calls off the jam and adds a few more points to the score. 8 at the end of that jam for Dark Sky Starlets.
That brings us into our century, into our 100s, into...
Somebody's in the hundies now.
Yeah.
Brought to you by Glitterbomb.
Yeah, oh, that's nice.
Good for you, Glitterbomb. That's Bazooka Langley calling that jam to a start. Maddie Massacre on the line and Crawdaddy for the Starlets.
Maddie Massacre not getting lead because they didn't pass all the players when coming out of the pack. And so lead is getting is going to Crawdaddy. Crawdaddy promptly calling it off.
So lead jammer status is not just the first jammer out of the pack, but it is the first jammer out of the pack who has passed all opposing blockers upright and inbounds. So if you go down on a knee to pass a skater, if you step out of bounds and another skater goes out of bounds and you re-enter in front of them, there's a number of ways in which you might not earn a pass on a skater and leave the pack ahead of the opposing jammer without lead jammer status. It does leave the other jammer the opportunity to still earn lead jammer status and stop you from scoring points before you have the opportunity.
And we have Slick Mick out with lead. Not far behind them is... Oh, and they called it off.
1 point on the board for Faultline after that jam.
And if you like to win money, get 50-50 tickets today. The draw will be during halftime of our last game. So you could leave richer than you arrived. Yeah.
One of our guests yesterday took home, I think it was just over $130 last night. So the pots are not small. So get your chance today.
Out with lead is Sasha. Not far behind them is Pie Are Scared.
Sasha already passing some hips at the back of the pack, tries to get those last 2 blocker points. Refs are counting
and assessing and determining how many points were scored. Refs have a lot of work to do in the middle of the pack and often will confer with outside pack refs as to who had position in the pack at the end of the jam and where the points actually fall. So that's PH Demon, I think, in the center, jam ref for Faultline, indicating 2 points at the end of that jam.
Glitter Bomb pushing through the pack. Not far behind them is Maddie Massacre.
In another scenario where the first jammer out of the pack is not lead, Maddie Massacre is quick out of the pack behind Glitter Bomb and does pick up lead jammer status and says, no, we're not gonna let that run. Glitter Bomb has a tendency to put up a lot of points, so we're gonna say no to that today.
Yeah, it can be really smart to try and ice out the other team from getting points to try and build on points. It's like a push and pull of like trying to acquire points while also like trying to do it slowly in increments.
You may see scenarios where a team will allow another jammer to score even though they're lead. They may be trying to empty the penalty box. Slick Mick with some big shoulder action at the front of the pack is lead jammer very quickly in this 7th jam of the second half. Crawdaddy is fighting hard at the back. Tries to whip off the hips of number 802, but found a back of a black blocker on that line. Still fighting hard with the helmet cover now off, but their pivot is heading to the penalty box, so Crawdaddy has to do that work on her own. She is out on initial now with the helmet cover back on. Slick Mick with some slick moves on the outside line, calls off the jam.
Yeah, that was some beautiful line work there by Slick Mick and that lovely little ballet that happened over there in the third corner.
Proudly Canadian, Cloverdale Paint delivers high-performance paints, coatings, and color systems. Cloverdale Paint sponsors the Eves of Destruction. 750 for White at the front of the pack to support those two blockers.
We got Sasha out with lead, getting a penalty for cut track penalty.
We have a lead jammer status.
We got the kid
For Kid Radical.
looking for some offense here.
Pivot the knockout rejoining the pack from the back after a trip to the penalty box. Kid Radical is working hard against the black blockers at the front of the pack, but they're working hard too and are consistently shutting Kid down. So some offense comes in for Kid Radical. But the offense is not successful, and Kid Radical decides to call up the jam before Faultline's jammer is released from the box. So when you're frozen in the box, obviously a big opportunity for your opponent to grab lead jammer status while you're not on the track and start scoring early in the jam.
Thank you so much to St. John Ambulance for attending on site all weekend. Truly, this wouldn't be possible without you. Got Pie Are Scared coming through with the lead on this power jam. Looking for some offense, getting hit down by 110. Faultline doing a great job of holding that jammer with only 2. Ice hitting them out, then coming back in. Got Sasha coming through. Empire Scared calling it off.
One of Eve's own skaters will greet you at Faded Hearts Bookstore in our vendor village. Head on down there to find an assortment of romantasy novels and other items.
for your reading pleasure.
If you're like, man, I just need to take a break and go sit out in the sun, go pick up a sweet little book.
I've seen copies of Heated Rivalry in there, just saying. Glitter Bomb on the jam line for HARD.
Push to the outside by 3-6, Slamela Anderson. I think we did tell Slamela Anderson that she is on the island belonging to the very famous Pamela Anderson. And I think that they found that trivia to be quite amusing. Lead jammer is Maddie Massacre, attempting to score, but is knocked to the outside line and trying to call the jam off, being whistled a penalty and sent to the penalty box for a back block, I believe. So it is now Glitter Bomb alone on the track to score, signaling some information to her blockers as to what sort of offense might be coming up. A little surprise stop before running into the pack, and then feet start moving, and Glitter Bomb pushes the tripod off the inside line, picks up 4 points. 8 total for this jam so far, as Pivot from Faultline returns to the track from the box. And heads right back because they cut on their re-entry. No pack is called. And blockers do have to release contact until pack is reestablished, which does allow Glitter Bomb to move forward in the pack, completing yet another pass with a total of 12 points on the board. Maddie back out on the track now, fighting hard against some incredible backwards facing blocking by Hard's Pivot and a blocking partner. There's been a lot of really great two-wall play in this tournament. I think roller derby's really taking a bit of a move away from tripod. It's not completely gone, but there's a lot of 2-and-2 work on the track, a lot more skill in blocking out there as the sport evolves, and 2-and-2s is definitely a theme that we're seeing. So you might see 2 offensive blockers or a split defense, 2 in the front and 2 in the back. That makes the sport a little bit more interesting to watch.
I'd just like to acknowledge that sneaky little panty pass that happened over there. That was really nice. Good job, guys. Oh, helmet cover. Sorry. We don't talk about panties on the track.
We have a team timeout for the Dark Sky Starlets. Their first, pardon me, this is Faultline's timeout, so it's their second of the game, so they'll have 1 remaining to use in the half. Hard is also taking advantage of the break, but their blockers are pretty ready on the track. Having a little chat with the jammer. Looks like Crawdaddy will be taking the jam line next for the Dark Sky Starlets. Basically a 31-point lead now. So with 17 points left, definitely something that can be closed up with some hard offense and lots of lead jammers, but Faultline has some work to do ahead of them to close this up and manage the win that was predicted.
Greater Victoria Sports Tourism Commission is fueled by the support of over 50 business members and municipalities, is dedicated to enhancing the region's sporting events landscape. Their mission is to seamlessly blend sport hosting with tourism making, drawing major sports events into the Greater Victoria area. That benefits the entire community. And on the track, we have Slick Mick and Crawdaddy. Slick Mick sneaking by on that outside line, getting lead, and Crawdaddy working their way up, getting hit out on the outside line on that pack. Still working on their initial.
And that's Captain Ice Rocker heading to the penalty box. A little tip about Ice Rocker, watch out for that skater because she was the game MVP in Faultline's first game of the tournament, but she's gonna hang out in the penalty box for 30 seconds.
Looks like Crawdaddy sneaking out on that outside line. It's like Mick calling it off promptly, collecting all 4 points. Are you gonna go to the after party on Sunday?
I have an appointment on Sunday. However, the after party is at Heckler's Bar and Grill. Laugh it up at Heckler's Bar and Grill after party when the game ends on Sunday. I would be there, but I will be freshly tattooed and protecting that from all you rowdy party people.
Well, I'll have a beer for you. On the line, we have Little Evil and Sasha DeGrader. Sasha DeGrader sneaking through on that outside line, making lead, and Little Evil getting sucked back by ice.
One of the blockers from Faultline doing a fantastic job preventing a big run back. So recognizing the blocker that hit Little Evil out of bounds was trying to do a run back with 3-6. Slamela Anderson getting that blocker's way to prevent the run back.
Sasha going to the box with a forearm penalty. Little Evil trying to get through on the inside line.
Helmet cover in hand. Will they, won't they situation regarding a helmet cover pass. Excellent defensive recycling by Black to keep Little Evil in the pack during this power jam.
I think that was a really wonderful thing to see there, how they took a moment to take a pause as they came back into the pack to give their team the opportunity to set up for some offense.
Yeah, sometimes there's just smart jammer play instead of incredible athleticism, and then there's a combination of both. And yeah, you can really use like slow, thinky derby to take advantage of your blockers who are there to help you.
Yeah, and I think that that's like that's a learned skill to have, I think, in this high stress sport where it's like a lot of takes a lot of like physical hits and stuff like that. So it's like, it changes the way that your brain works in high stress environments, I believe.
Absolutely. And I'm not sure I would say like work smart, not hard at roller derby, but if you work smart and hard, then there's not a lot stopping you on the track. Sasha is working hard on the track with no lead jammer. This will go the full 2 minutes. But it doesn't look like our jammers are caring too much about those last couple seconds of the jam. It might be time to rest.
Yeah, sometimes when it's hard, it's hard. Like the name of this team.
Right? I've been trying to work that in here somewhere, and it's just like, I don't know. What can I say about Faultline? Like if I use hard too much in the chatter. No fault in Faultline.
I think that's accurate.
Yeah.
We are looking at 105 to 124.
It's a very close game, 19-point difference, and plenty of time for either team to take the win. Pyar Scared is out in front of the pack as lead jammer. The pack is tight in turn 1 as Massacre working hard to get that initial pass. Ref Rolando Furioso whistling a high block to White pivot. So White will proceed down one blocker for 30 seconds of this jam.
Ref and coach for the Eves. Amazing. Does it all.
Pyar Scared is so aggressive in their approach to jamming. They just keep their feet moving. She's working hard. Hips are constantly passing skaters. There's no way those 4 points aren't going up on the board if you are Pyar Scared. Parkway Physio.
Parkway Physio.
It reminds me of pop-up video, so I always want to say Parkway Physio. Reduce pain, improve mobility, and get back to what you love. Parkway Physio is a huge supporter of the Eves of Destruction, keeping our bodies all in working order for all of the contact that this game involves. Slick Mick is lead jammer for Jam 14. Glitter Bomb on the track too, so you know it won't be long before we've got 2 jammers in scoring position. Pack is being stretched out with a bridge, holding things together. Pivot makes a serious attempt at stopping Slick Mick, but tumbles to the outside line.
That was some serious fancy feet on the inside line there for Slick Mick. It's such a shame that it was a cut. Oh,
Slick Mick
but it
in
was
the
beautiful.
penalty box now, and Glitter Bomb has the opportunity to score for the Starlets. We've really come down to the grind here. It looks like the blockers and the jammers are really just using what energy is left in the tank, and it's a lot of mental game at this point with 11 minutes left.
And you know what? I bet you after a game like this, all of these players will want to go check out our Parkway Physio people for some getting things recalibrated, you know?
Absolutely. I'm sitting in a chair, and that's all I want.
Nothing like a hard game that says, hey, can you adjust my spine?
Have you ever had your spine adjusted on the track mid-jam? Because I absolutely have.
Who needs a chiropractor when you got teammates? I mean, not teammates.
Opponents.
Opposite teams.
Opposite teammates.
Opposite teammates.
Slick Mick is out of the box and already working hard, putting more points up on the board. Both jammers are actively scoring as the clock ticks down. 20 seconds or so remaining in the jam. Slick Mick pushed the outside line, but a quick re-entry, so no drawback opportunity for Hard. Slick Mick is watching the clock, trying to decide what the best move is here. Sometimes jumping back in when there's only a few seconds remaining is not the best opportunity. Could land in the penalty box with a power jam against you on the next jam. And if you know you've got 4 points in your pocket, why go out there and risk it?
Yeah, sometimes you just gotta conserve your energy.
So that was a close jam. Washing out was 7, no, not quite a washout. We got 7 points for Faultline at the end of that jam, bringing their total score at the 10 minutes remaining mark to 112 points. Dark Sky Starlets, 140 points. 28-point difference at this point in the game is still nothing that can't be overcome by Faultline Derby Devils. And it's Hard's team timeout now.
No questions? More complications, everything's fine.
Getting some offense there from, wow, okay. Maddie Masker out with lead. There's some great offense from somebody on their team. And looks like 47 now has, oh, and Crawdaddy still has the hat. They did not pass it. And they're coming out closely behind.
I just want to say hats off to the blockers on the track right now. I don't think there's anybody in this game who's not giving their absolute all for this win. That was just, everybody was in contact all the time. There was no space in the pack. It was just a tight pack with everybody throwing each other to the ground. I'm going to give offense. I'm going to do defense. Just every moment and every hit matters right now.
And looks like we have Let's Be Honest for Faultline and Kid Radical for Hard. Kid Radical coming out of the pack and then getting a forearm penalty. Kid Radical with a power jam, coming in on that inside line, sneaking through. Looking for some offense here. Hitting, and then the offense is coming in, sneaking in. Oh, getting hit down.
Let's Be Honest was a key jammer in Faultline's game yesterday and did take the MVP jammer nod at the end of the game. However, this is her first jam of this game, I believe. Now back in the pack, forceful contact to the white tripod and getting that initial pass immediately in scoring position. with mass-produced stuff. Connect with what you consume with Driftwood Brewery. Visit their bar and patio nearby on Viewfield Road or on site here tonight.
They have a beautiful seating area, and this is a beautiful day to go sit out on their balcony, have a little beer, enjoy some chicken wings, and chat with friends. Or you could just have a beer in here and watch some roller derby. Got Slick Mick for lead.
Best of both worlds, a beer and Slick Mick with some incredible moves. On the inside line with some fantastic footwork and then quickly hopping to the outside line to pass the remaining two blockers. Very agile, even late in the game, Slick Mick is really bringing a lot to Faultline's gameplay this afternoon. Morning. Afternoon.
On the line here, we have Let's Be Honest and Glitter Bomb. Glitter Bomb getting hit out on the outside line there.
Direction of gameplay called on.
Let's Be Honest in the box. Looks like they're going for a power jam. Not, Glitter Bomb doesn't have lead right now.
Faultline's pivot seated next to Let's Be Honest in the penalty box. So lots of opportunity for Dark Sky to take advantage.
Yeah, it looks like this is gonna be a full 2-minute jam.
No lead jammer late in the game. 2-minute jam is going to be a lot of hard work for both jammers. Even the blockers at this point are really going to feel 2 minutes on the track.
Yeah, I feel like in the second half, that is when I appreciate offense the most.
Let's Be Honest, unfortunately, bringing fresh legs for jamming to this game, but is in the penalty box again for a high block this time, leaving Glitter Bomb free to score on the track. We've got Pivot in black working hard to prevent that pass at the edge of gameplay. The Glitter Bomb is out for another 4 points.
And you know what? I think actually I enjoy offense all the time. Like offense right now in a power jam. Look at that.
I like giving offense to you.
I love the offense you give me. A match made in heaven, Fanny.
Oh, we're announcer buddies and blocking jammer buddies. Oh my gosh. It's getting intimate up here.
Maybe we should have been twins.
You could steal Trash's outfit. I think she would like it. Glitter Bomb knocked to the inside line, still picking away at points on this final pass. The jam whistled dead. Did Glitter Bomb get the remaining 4 points? Yes, she did. That is a solid 12-point jam for the Dark Sky Starlets late in this game. Dark Sky Starlets now stand with a score of 155 points. Faultline Derby Devilz with 122. Again, a super close game. These teams have been going hard all afternoon. Well, 3 minutes of the afternoon. But they're fighting for every point, every lead jammer status, every advantage on the track. And 4 minutes, again, is not, it's not too little time to close a 33-point gap.
It's true. And with that, thank you, Roller Girl, for sponsoring Capital City Chaos's tournament MVP prize. You can vote for your tournament MVP using the QR code posted throughout the area. Make sure you vote for an MVP. Please. You could vote for me for the MVP. I could use some Roller Girl supplies.
I'm not even skating. I don't think you can vote for me. But if you did, I would appreciate you.
I think you could vote for anybody.
Speaking of MVPs, we will have Jammer and Blocker MVPs announced by Regrettal at the end of this game, so stick around to find out who those are awarded to. Everybody's deserving of some accolades at the end of a game like this, but we will have some top skaters acknowledged.
On the line, looks like we have Maddie Massacre and Crawdaddy.
That is some fast jammer movement in the pack right now.
Games like this, I feel like penalties can really make it or break it in regards to the score.
You really have to work hard for every point, and in doing so, you do often risk a lot more when you're a jammer. So small cuts, forearms, those sorts of things are definitely likelier. Unfortunately for Faultline, that does mean they've spent a little bit extra time in the penalty box late in the game, making that chance of closing the score a little lower. Crawdaddy does have lead jammer, working hard in the pack to put more points on the board for their team. Really managing contact from the opposing team well, staying on their feet through the pack, rounding for another scoring opportunity.
Maddie doing a beautiful apex jump on that inside line.
They always do something that sort of counters what I said, like, oh yeah, Crawdaddy is doing all of the contact and staying up, but then comes around and is like, I'm not gonna touch anybody this time, I'm gonna jump the apex, I'm gonna make it real clean, I'm gonna leave the track with 12 points. Probably time for 2 to 3 more jams remaining in this game.
Yeah, and I think like coming back to that, I feel like it really shows the versatility that all skaters have here of like being able to like either, you know, push hard up the center or jump the apex and totally avoid everybody, or like being really quick and agile while also being like super strong. I think
absolutely. If you're predictable, then you're easier to block. So if you have every tool available in your derby toolkit, as I like to call it, then you're just going to surprise the blockers, and they're going to do their best to stop you. But the more you have, obviously, like in any role you might have in your life, you're gonna
never do the
access
same
those
thing.
tools, and you're going to open opportunities for yourself.
Yeah, never do the same thing for more than 5 seconds.
That's a good rule. I've never heard it put like that. I have, in coaching terms, sometimes found myself just yelling at blockers and jammers, do something different, it's not working. But I feel like you gotta be a little more specific if you're trying to coach your team from the sidelines. Probably one of the most common things I'll say to a jammer is move your feet, because sometimes you just get caught in that grind where there's a tripod who has you held so well. And the tripod is now so committed to that if you really did just move your feet and move laterally, maybe something would change. But we all just get stuck in that moment, and you think, this is what I have to do. I have to push this super difficult tripod. But we're not seeing a lot of that in this game. Like you said, there's a lot of versatility, and the jammers are using all of those skills to make the blockers really have to work hard to stay in front of them and keep them contained.
Yeah, like a lot of fluid movement in this game, which I really appreciate. I feel like it's been a lot of fast back-to-back jams, which has been great to watch.
It really goes to show the skill of the jammers, because if your jammers are out quick, then they're preventing points from being scored, and 4-0 jams, 2-0 jams, and so forth are going to happen a lot more often. A rare moment where Slick Mick is not lead jammer while on the track. Little Evil rounding for a first scoring pass, and that was so quick. An easy 4 points, looking to the bench to decide what to do. Hands raised, and yes, they tap their hips to call it off.
Check out Empire Donuts, a whole lot of love. All donuts are made by hand from scratch with quality ingredients. Check them out. You could buy me an Earl Grey donut.
We are down to those final moments. Will it or will it not be the last jam of the game? Maddie Massacre is already pushing hard at the front of the pack. Because of a fallen skater bridging the pack out, we have an out-of-play call, and Maddie Massacre is lead jammer. Pyar Scared is out of the pack, not far behind. Very fast, speed around the track. Toe-stops on the line, and I think Pyar Scared did manage to pick up at least a point at the end of that jam. That's 1 point for Hard, 4 for Faultline. And yeah, not the last jam, because that one, like many in this game, was called quite short.
I love watching the camaraderie of the different teams high-fiving and laughing together, even after enduring such a hard moment.
You said hard again.
Hey.
It's your team name. I meant nothing by that.
Get your 50-50 tickets now. A draw will be during halftime of the last game. You could leave richer than you arrived.
How is Glitter Bomb still moving this intensely? She's jammed so much this game, but still seems to have just as much energy to give. Every point matters when you're playing for ranking. So the skaters with that in mind are really just going to give everything they have until the last second and hopefully recover by the next game the next day, or I think Hard actually plays again this afternoon. Maybe against one of our teams.
Yeah.
Glitter Bomb fighting so hard for that lead jammer status, does exit the pack at about 40 seconds into this jam and is now eligible to score. We've got Sasha the Greater jamming for Faultline, sitting in the penalty box at this time. Glitter Bomb separating the blockers from Faultline out the front of the pack at this time, picking one off after the next, and hops around the hips of the last blocker for 4 points.
Sasha the Greater back on the track. Getting sucked back by 750, Gin and Tonic.
Gin and Toxic whistled up the track to the penalty box. I believe it was a forearm call. Did manage to run the jammer back before heading to the penalty box, and that is what blockers might say is a penalty that was totally worth it. Holding the jammer off of that pass, preventing scoring opportunities.
That brings our official score to 126 for Faultline and 178 for Hard.
The officials take a few moments at the end of each game just to confirm accuracy of the score, so that score will turn to the official score once they've done so and made any adjustments required. That final rolling whistle should mean that our game is now over and the score will stand at 126 to 178. Let's go to Regrettal in the middle of the track for our game MVPs.
With a delay earlier, we are in a tight schedule now. I am going to invite skaters to join me near the scoreboard for MVP prizes once you've had your quick skate around. All right, joining me near the scoreboard and off the track for MVP prizes, please. I'm going to start with MVP blocker for Faultline. MVP blocker is 3-6, Slamala Anderson. Here I am by the scoreboard. Here I am.
Is this just the second half or
MVP Jammer. 916, Slick Mick. right, Dark Sky, your MVPs are MVP blocker 750, Gin and Toxic. You can find me by the scoreboard. 750, Gin and Toxic. Here I am. Here I am. And your MVP jammer, 2-4 Glitter Bomb. Skaters from the game that has just ended, please be off the track while next teams warm up. Thank you.